Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Words of Wellness. I'm your host, Yassir Al-Manawi, a clinical therapist. Today we're going to talk about parenting. It's connected to everything else, as we know, and I think it's a very important topic that we talk about because it affects, if you raise healthy children, you're going to raise a healthy society. And that's, I'm sure, it's every father's aim and every mother's aim to have healthy children. Not only physically, but emotionally at the same time. So I'm going to recite a hadith on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and then we are going to discuss it and tie it up to everything else that we have spoken about so far. This hadith goes that on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who said that play with them for 7, teach them for 7, and become their friend for 7. So if we take a look at the hadith, that we divided life into 7, 7, and 7. From 0 to 7, from 7 to 14, and from 14 to 21. And each one actually has a name. The stage from 0 to 7 is what we call imprint stage. And we call it imprint stage because little kids are like a white page. Whatever you do, it gets imprinted. Not only spoken words or actions, but they watch you and they see everything you do, and it gets imprinted in their psyche. That's why we call it the imprint stage. From the age 0 to 7, children, they don't have the consciousness. It hasn't been developed yet. It will be developed afterwards in their brain and in their psyche. From the age 0 to 7, the reasoning is not there yet. That's why we always say love them and play with them, give them love and affection, and directions at the same time, but with love and affection. That's very important. Let's take a look at the stage from 7 to 14. It's also very important, and it's called modeling stage. Why is it called modeling stage? It's modeling because they start imitating. Imitating who? Imitating either their fathers, their mothers, or somebody that they admire in society, who, like a football player or a basketball player or an athlete. So they start imitating others. Why? Because they are learning and they are in search to find themselves. This is also a very important stage, and that's where all the teaching takes place in. Why? Because the reasoning doesn't start to develop until the age of 7. So before the age of 7, if I try to teach my children something, they will not learn. Like if I tell them, don't do that or do this, they're going to go and do the same thing. And who's going to get frustrated? The parents are going to get frustrated. Let's see. We're going to go to the third level, which is what? 14 to 21. And it is called socialization. That's the stage that we say, well, become their friend. So we said, play with them, teach them, and become their friend. Imprint, modeling, and socialization. A lot of parents will come at that specific age, teenagers, and they say, well, my kids are running around with a bad crowd. I don't know what to do. Well, if you become their friend, you are going to be able to take them to your side. You're going to be able to affect them in a positive way, as opposed to them going outside and looking for the crowd to become their family and to fill the void that's in their lives. Let me go back. All these stages are actually very important, with special emphasis on the first 7 years of the kid's life. It is very, very important. Why? Because this is where they develop their self-concept about themselves, in their unconscious, not in their consciousness. So let's see. I have to be careful there. Even though I might not do anything wrong, or you might not do anything wrong, but parents usually, you have to put yourself in that kid's position, in his or her brain. Because if we go to work every day and we spend 14 hours at work and then we go back home, we're tired, we want to go to sleep. But the kids want to spend some time with their parents. They don't know that you're working. You can actually reassure them, tell them and reassure them, and give them love and affection, and explain to them why you're outside, explain to them what you're doing, so they will be reassured. Otherwise, they are going to have unhealthy filters, and they will actually do it and increase it and build on it in their later years. So that's what you need to do. A lot of times they tell you, well, somebody has a fear of this or a fear of that. Somebody have core issues. It's all developed in a very early age before the consciousness. The core issues, basically, it's somebody's inner feeling about himself or herself that they do not know consciously. Fear of failing, for instance, they could know consciously that they are very successful, but unconsciously they're not. What does that mean? It means that they usually do things to damage their own lives, do things to ruin their lives, when everything is going on very well for them. So that's what we need to pay attention to as parents. So you need to be kind to them. You need to realize it is our responsibilities as parents to instill healthy filters, healthy values, to try to minimize the core issues. They're still going to be there, but we're going to try to minimize them. We're not going to increase them. A lot of parents are very uptight. They're very angry. The pressures are from everywhere. So what do? They don't have enough time to spend with the kids, and sometimes they holler at them. Hollering at them might make them fearful, might make them lose their self-confidence or sometimes self-respect. A lot of times we hear it in psychology, well, you have low self-esteem. What does that mean? Low self-esteem is connected directly to parenting and the way they were parented at a younger age. So as parents, we need to take a look at that, because in the first 7 years is where we have the 3 core issues or the 4 core issues that are developed in each and every human being. What are these? Fear of failing, fear of loneliness, fear of abandonment, and fear of dying, which is actually fear of the unknown. So we need to minimize all of this stuff in order for us to have healthy children. And again, I urge everybody to take a look at what they're doing with themselves, take a look at what they're doing with their children in order for us to live a happier, healthier life. With these words, I'll leave you, and we'll see you in the next episode, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.